friends, Jewel back with another super cool astrology video, and I wanted to talk today about something that I see pretty regularly in my astrology practice, and that is something that is quite disturbing to a lot of people when it happens. And that is when we are in our transits of midlife and we are seemingly struck by love out of nowhere. And it's something that we weren't looking for, and it's something that we weren't planning on. It is something that we just find that we have to deal with. So this is actually not uncommon in especially women who are going through the transits of midlife and have a lot of things in their lives that they have yet to explore or deal with or experience. So this is a happening that is typically described as somebody who's just come into your life and there's now these feelings, these overwhelming feelings of desire or attraction, and usually you're not available, so you can't act on these, and it's very confusing, and it's very distressing, and a lot of people are looking for the reason why this is happening, because this is something that they have seemingly not tried to seek out. It is something that's just come into their lives, and they feel that they now have to deal with this. So when we enter our midlife transits at about age 37, they are no joke. They are very serious, and they are meant to bring us into direct contact and focus with what we have yet to experience or to come to terms with in our lives, and to bring us to a place of greater truth within our own self and within our own ability to live that truth. And so at about age 37, we go through our first midlife transits, which is Pluto square Pluto. And this really sets it off, and we then are into our mid-40s there to late 40s when we wrap up our transits of midlife. And so when somebody comes into our life and causes these overwhelming feelings of confusion or love or lust or desire, it is very much a wake-up call. It is a cosmic wake-up call to us to really look closely at what we have yet to experience in our life. And is the path that we're on now in our current life a path that is going to lead to greater self-exploration or greater self-growth? Is it not? So there's nothing in our life that will bring us closer to our issues than love or attraction, sexual attraction, because it puts us very much in contact with our shadow self and with the things that we have yet to assimilate into our personalities, into our conscious lives. And so there's very much a lot of psychology wrapped up. It's all psychology when it comes to attraction. And when we act on attraction, especially extreme attraction, it's very much a window into what we are trying to assimilate into our own conscious way of being. So feelings that accompany these experiences of being attracted to somebody seemingly out of nowhere are very overwhelming, and they put people in a state of panic. And so they typically will either back away and remain in contact with the person that they find themselves attracted to, or they will start to pursue that and rapidly. There really is no middle ground when we have this particular experience. And either way is going to bring you into contact with a lot of the repressed and hidden aspects of your own personality that have yet to be given voice to. So all attraction that we have, even acceptable or suitable attractions, all of those are coming from a place of us trying to reconnect with those hidden or rejected or unaccepted parts of the self. And so that's really, really in motion when we have these midlife attractions here. We are really, really in a last-ditch effort to try to connect with those parts of ourself. And so when we see somebody that reflects back to us what we could be, especially when we are experiencing a midlife crisis, and very, very often an intense attraction to midlife and a midlife crisis accompany each other. Because midlife crisis is very much about the planets begging you to please experience more of your life, more growth than you have set the trajectory of your life up for. So it can be a very shattering experience to go through midlife transits because of the nature of what they're asking for, which is sometimes a complete breakdown of the trajectory of your life. So we need to understand that acting on these relationships is, yes, going to bring you face to face with some serious growth, but these relationships, these attractions, are very much coming out of a place of the self. There's very little compatibility involved in midlife surprise attractions that happen between two people. Typically, there's going to be a lot of Moon Uranus, Venus Uranus going on between the two people, and we're going to have some sexual contacts as well, because this is a wake-up call. So the compatibility level is very low when we look at the synastry and composite between these particular potential relationships. But the emotional connectivity tends to be very high. There is a big window of opportunity for developing emotional intimacy in these relationships. And they have a really good way of bringing us into huge contact with our own shadow self in a very short amount of time. So the big question, do you act on these midlife attractions that seemingly spring out of nowhere and have these overwhelming feelings associated with them? My advice is no when these come up, because typically when we are undergoing these attractions, we are under some very serious planetary duress. We're undergoing some very serious inner alchemy. And there's typically a lot of Uranus involved, sometimes a lot of Pluto, Neptune. So our judgment can be in flux while we are in these transits. And because the compatibility factor tends to be so low, they do not bode well, the synastry, for long-term relationships. And they typically carry the signatures that we see in the synastry of affairs, which is a lot of 12th house planets, the sun square to the moon, Mars or Venus in conjunct to the composite ascendant, these types of things. The moon in hard aspect to Uranus, very, very common. It's meant to make our blood boil, these relationships. It's meant to make us react. It's meant to make us wake up. But most of the time, these attractions are not meant to be the end-all, be-all, forever soulmate that we hook up with and end up in a long-term relationship with. So know that if this is your situation, that you are not alone. This is very, very common. This is one of the planet's best, most favorite ways of making us reconnect with our own self through the medium of connecting with that other or connecting with that soulmate. And they are soulmates. People that we meet that do this to us, they are soulmates. These are some of the most important people in our lives. Even though we may not get to be with them in a real way, we are with them. They are some of the most important people that we will ever meet. They are there to put us on the right path. They are there to connect us to our own soul. They are, a lot of times, the people that we look back on at the end of our lives, and we remember them as the most important people in our growth and in our lives. So don't judge these attractions by whether or not you get to be together forever and ever. That's really not the point. The point is the feelings, and the feelings of intimacy, the feelings of connectivity, the feelings that they bring up within your own self, that wake-up call, that they make you feel beautiful again. They remind you of what you could have. They put you in a position where you start asking, do I have what I really deserve? They can be the people that put us in the life that we really need to be in, even though we may not get to spend our lives with them. So I hope this was helpful and brought you some more understanding of this very difficult situation. You can find me on the internet at truthandaspectastrology.com. Yes, I do private consultation. You can find me on Facebook at Truth and Aspect Astrology. And I will be back super soon with more super cool videos. Bye.